Good evening, friends. Hope you all are doing good. So, friends, today we are going to see the third chapter of your 8th standard NCRT, that is Mineral Power and Resources. Yesterday, I had given you question about soil degradation and the techniques of soil conservation. So, definitely, you have to write about the definition of soil degradation, why it is happening, what is a soil, how it is formed, what are the components of the soil, when degradation happens, how it happens. Yesterday, I have explained you the entire process of degradation, how grade of the soil is degraded. So after that, you should write about the conservation techniques. That is, mulching is there, contour bunding is there, terrace farming is there, and the windshield is there, coastal belts are there. So these are the different techniques of we can say this soil to arrest the soil degradation. So most of you have written good answer. Draw more and more flowchart in such questions. You can also draw more and more diagrams in this type of questions. So friends, let us understand the next chapter today. This is about mineral and power resources. So now this entire NCRT is about resources. So here we are going to see the major mineral resources in India and across the world. So friends, when we talk about minerals, we have already seen the definition of minerals. We have seen in chapter rock, we have seen that rocks are nothing but a combination of several minerals. Minerals, and we can say, let us talk about these minerals. So definition of minerals is nothing but a naturally occurring substance that has definite chemical composition. So as we know, we have copper, we have gold, we have iron, we have platinum. So they have definite composition of a chemical. So that's why we are calling them as a mineral. A rock may contain one, okay, it may contain one or one plus many minerals. It can contain one, two, or three minerals. So that's why we are calling it as a rock. When a concentration of one mineral is more in a particular rock, we call it as a ore of that particular mineral. Getting it? So minerals, if we see the distribution of minerals, they are distributed according to the geography, according to the we can say climate, according to surrounding atmosphere, environment. So they play very major role in the development of mineral. So geology plays one of the most important part in the development of mineral in terms that in certain regions, if you have volcanic activity, then one particular type of mineral will develop. In another region, if you have lots of rainfall and lots of withering is going on, then mineral enrichment can happen in that area. So, for example, particular land has huge amount of gold. So, but that gold is very rare. Like for example, in 100 kg of soil, you have just 1 gram of gold. So, what happens because of the rainfall? The surrounding impurities they get dissolved into the water and mineral enrichment happens. So for example, you may get 1 or half kg of gold in just 100 kg of soil. So this is called as a mineral enrichment. So surrounding atmosphere plays a very important role in enrichment of the minerals. So these minerals are not evenly distributed. They are distributed according to the atmosphere, according to the geology, according to the erosion, according to the weathering of that region. Getting it? Sometimes historical events, like for example, in a Carboniferous period, huge amount of ferns, huge amount of algae, huge amount of plants, they underwent the volcano. So because of that, coal formation is very huge in the particular region. Getting it? So mineral formation is a specific, we have seen it as a specific reason why a particular mineral is present in a particular region. Now friends, let us understand the types of minerals. When we say types, there are two major types of minerals based upon the composition. So based upon composition, you have metallic minerals and non-metallic minerals. Metallic minerals can be classified into ferrous and non-ferrous. Ferrous means iron. So metallic minerals means these are the metal minerals. So you have gold, you have silver, you have iron, you have copper. So these are the metallic minerals. So what are the properties of the metal? So metals have properties like they can conduct heat, they can conduct electricity, they are shiny, they have luster. Okay. So these are the properties of the metal. So these metallic minerals have all these properties. Further, these minerals can be classified into another two types, that is ferrous and non-ferrous. Here ferrous means what? Iron. So iron containing mineral and non-iron containing mineral. So non-iron containing mineral means gold, silver, copper. These types of minerals are non-iron containing minerals. So two types of mineral you have. Here on the side you can see rock is an aggregate of one or more minerals. This we have seen without any definite composition. Okay. So if certain mineral or one mineral out of five minerals in the rock is more in the quantity, we call it as a ore. That particular rock or huge rock or that particular area, we will call it as a ore. Getting it? So almost there are, if we come, mineral is not of few types. There are thousands of types of minerals. So there are 2,800 types of minerals currently we have. Okay, because if you combine multiple elements like copper with gold, copper with tin, copper with bauxite, so you'll get like 2,800 types. So currently we have 2,800 types and 100 types of mineral ores that we have. Okay, so these are the important things we should remember from our prelim point of view. Okay, so here you have two types of minerals, metallic minerals and non-metallic minerals. Metallic minerals are further divided into ferrous and non-ferrous types of minerals. These type of chapters are less about understanding, but they are more and more about facts. So remembering facts are very important. Getting it? Now let us understand further extraction of mineral process. Okay, so if you want to use the mineral, definitely you have to extract the minerals. So there are three ways of extraction, three ways you can take out the minerals from the earth. So first is by mining. So we have huge mines, you have coal mines, you have copper mines, you have gold mines. Second is drilling. So all the minerals cannot be taken just by drilling. So you have to go deep, you have to go too much deep, and uh, these minerals are liquid in nature. So for example, oil, it is liquid in nature. So horizontal mining is, or a huge roof mining is open cast mining is not of any use. So drilling is required for taking oil out of the earth. Then next is a coring. So some minerals are very close to the earth, just like you can, just with the help of JCB, you can mine those minerals. So those some minerals which are very close to the surface of the earth, they are removed by the quarrying. So you have heard that limestone quarrying or quarry or stone quarries are very famous because they are very close to the surface, or sometimes they are above the surface in the mountain. So quarrying is very famous in terms of stones. Okay. So friends, let us understand this different definition. So mining is nothing but what? Taking the minerals from the rocks is called as a mining. So minerals that lies little shallow. So you go on digging the roof of the, or you go on digging the surface, then you make tunnels. Then when you go and make tunnels, so what happens? Uh, we make tunnels for the digging of the coal. Okay, so at the shallow depth, okay, without making tunnels, just clearing the surface, if you take out the minerals, this type of mining is known as open cast mining. So everything is open above, there is nothing hidden or no caves are not there. Okay, so the depth is very shallow, so we call it as a open cast mining. Then you dig deep. Okay, you dig deep like for digging the coal. So deep bores are dug. Okay, people go down through the lifts and all, so bores are dug. Okay, so this types of mining is called as a shaft mining. Okay, so shaft mining and open cast mining, these are the two types of mining to remove the solid type of minerals. But you have a liquid type of minerals, then it should be taken out through the process of drilling, like petroleum. And minerals which lie near surface, they are dug simply by the quarrying. So limestone quarrying is one of the famous quarrying that we know. Now friends, these are the different ways we are digging the minerals. Getting it? Now, after understanding how these minerals are dug and how this overall mining is done, distribution of minerals. So when we say distribution of minerals, we are talking about their distribution in the worldwide and in terms of India. So first of all, let us understand the geographic distribution of minerals or geological distribution of minerals, geological factors which play the role in distribution of minerals. So certain types of minerals are found only in the basaltic or igneous rocks. Certain types of minerals are found in metamorphic rocks. Certain types of minerals are found only in the sedimentary rocks. So, for example, iron, it's found only in the basaltic rock. If you see the, the graphite or limestone, it is found in the sedimentary and sometimes in the metamorphic rocks. Getting it? So, metallic minerals are generally found in igneous and metamorphic rocks. And sedimentary rock formation will have non-metallic minerals. Generally, non-metallic minerals are generally they are not found in the uh, igneous rocks or basaltic rocks. Getting it? So uh, these are some important things that we should know. Now let us understand the distribution of minerals in the various places across the world. Before that, you should know that if you have a mineral containing iron, then the color of the rock or soil will be yellowish or reddish in the color. If you have rock containing copper, then the rock will be in the blue color. Getting it? So these things you should remember. Now let us understand various mineral distribution across the globe. So first let us understand about Asia. Asia, as we know, is a huge deposits of minerals are found over here. China and India are the leading places where these minerals are found. Now, let us understand what are the ores which are found in the different places. So, India and China have a largest deposits of iron and tin. Specifically, India is one of the leading producer of the tin, and China, India together are the leading producers of iron. Okay, we even export iron to different countries like Japan. Now, let us understand this distribution of minerals. So, China, Malaysia, and Indonesia, they are one of the leading producers of the tin. China also have lead antimony and tungsten. So, certain very valuable mineral resources China is controlling. That's why it is very difficult to deal with the China when it comes to the external diplomacy, because they control a very valuable, or we can say the minerals which are very important from electronics industrial point of view or nuclear power point of view. They are very important. These types of mineral they are controlling. Now Europe is a leading producer of iron ore. Okay, every country has some other minerals as well, like copper, lead, zinc, manganese, nickel. But we will mostly see the important minerals which are found in the particular region. Now, here you can see that Switzerland has a no known mineral deposits in it. So generally, mineral deposits are present everywhere, but sometimes they are not explored. Sometimes because of the environmental concerns, getting it. So Switzerland is a country mainly. It is run on the basis of tourism. So mineral exploration is not done vastly in the Switzerland. Okay, and if you have learned, quality of the Switzerland is also very different from the other uh, countries. Okay, so north. Let us go to North America. Now here you can see Europe as a leading producer of iron ore. Now uh, Europe is also leading producer of coal. You can see over here these are coal and other mineral oils. So Ruhr Valley of the Germany and on the France side we have a huge deposits of coal. Getting it. Even First World War was fought on the contention of the Ruhr Valley. So Europe has a huge deposits of coal. Let us go to the North America. Now, North America has a three important regions of a mineral. First is a Canadian region, getting it. Then Appalachian region, here somewhere it's Appalachian, and Western Cordillera or Western America has a huge deposits of minerals. So three deposits of minerals or three regions of North America are full of different type minerals. Like you have copper, you have gold, you have zinc, you have silver, you have coal, you have natural oil, you have gas. So these types of different minerals are present over here. Now, let us understand the South America. South America, Brazil produces the very high grade iron ores in the world. Very high grade iron ores, hematite type of iron ores are produced by the Brazil. Then Chile and Peru has a huge deposits of copper. Getting it. So one of the leading producer of copper is Chile and Peru, and Brazil and Bolivia together they make huge amount of tin. So here you have Brazil, one of the biggest country in the South America. So Brazil is a leading producer of iron ore, and Chile and Peru they produce huge amount of copper. Okay, so tin also is produced in a huge amount in the South America. Now, let us understand the mineral production in the Africa. Africa is very famous for the diamond. You might have seen the different movies like Blood Diamonds and all, where Africa has been featured. So, since ancient time, India was one of the huge producer of diamond, but after colonial era and Mughal era, the diamond production has been reduced in India. Although it is said that in the ancient time, gold and diamond was huge quantity was found in case of India. But now, in the current era, the huge quantity of diamonds are found in the Africa. So there are red diamonds, pink diamonds, green diamonds. Green is one of the rarest of the rare diamonds. Getting it. So they are found in the Africa. So in Africa, other important minerals like gold and platinum are also found. They are rare minerals. Specifically, Africa, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Zaire. They are the largest producer of these the rare minerals. So most of the gold is found in the coast of Ghana and coast of Africa. Okay, Atlantic coast of Africa is very famous for the gold, and so western coast of Africa and eastern coast of South America are very famous for the gold and rare earth minerals as well. Oil is found in the desert region of Africa like Nigeria, Libya, Angola. We have seen in the Sahara Desert. So these countries are surrounded by the Sahara Desert. So lots of oil is found over here. Getting it. Now let us move towards Australia. Australia, there are no Australia does not have valuable minerals like gold and um, diamond, but bauxite is found hugely in Australia. Bauxite is used for the purpose of aluminium production. Okay, so aluminium is one of the important minerals nowadays. It is used for various purpose. So bauxite is used for the production of aluminium. So some we can say valuable minerals are found in the some regions of the Australia like Kargoli and Kurgadi. So these different regions have gold. Now let us go to the Antarctica. Antarctica we call it as a South Pole. So not much has been explored over there. Arctic has been explored a lot. In the Arctic region, we have huge proven deposits of natural gas, oil, and some petroleum deposits. Okay, Antarctica is a continent. So Antarctica is full of coal. So there are trans-Antarctic mountains. So they are full of coal. Getting it? So coal formed in the let us say Carboniferous period is hugely available in the Antarctica, but it is considered as a global common, and we are not supposed to explore these minerals. We are not supposed to touch the Antarctica. This is a common understanding. Now, after seeing these minerals in the different region, let us understand use of the minerals. So minerals are of for different purposes. So first is a day-to-day life. We are using the minerals. So your kitchen trolleys, your kitchen knives, your gas cylinder, they are made up of different metals. Then your vehicles, they are also made up of metals. Your houses, your construction material, they are also made up of different metals. Also, there are non-regular usage of the metals, like let us say medical usage. So radioactive metals are used for the medical purposes. Then minerals are used for the defense purposes. Minerals are used for the agriculture purposes. So there are different usage of these minerals that we all of us know. But as we know, these minerals are not renewable things. They don't renew them again and again. So that's why conservation of mineral is very important. So how you are going to conserve the mineral? So minerals need to be conserved through reuse, reduce and recycle process. So these things you can write in your answer. So reuse, reduce and recycle. So first thing is, let us start with the reduce. So reduce the usage of the minerals. Whatever minerals you are using, don't throw them, recycle them. When you are recycling them, then what to do? Then reuse them. So these reduce, reuse and recycle. These are the very important thing for the conservation of minerals. Now friends, after understanding the mineral conservation, let us understand the different minerals which are used for the production of power. So as we know, minerals are used for various purposes. So one of the important purpose of mineral is the production of power. So for the production of power, you require coal. Okay, you require oil, you require natural gas. So power resources can be categorized into two types, conventional and non-conventional. So two types of minerals can be used for the production of power. Now conventional sources for the production of power. Conventional means what? Regularly used. Since ancient times we are using these sources. They are not something newly discovered things. So ancient times, since what we are using firewood, we are using fossil fuel. So firewood and fossil fuel are hugely utilized as a conventional source of minerals. Firewood, we know at the villages everyone has used firewood, and these barbecues and all are very famous. So this is one of the conventional fuel. Fossil fuel, petroleum, coal, oil, natural gas, they are called as a fossil fuel. So carbon content is very high. They have formed because of the carbonification or gasification of the organic content few million years back. Because of that, these fossil fuels have been formed. So this coal, petroleum and oil, they have different uses and they have different advantages. If you see coal, coal is a very polluting mineral. It has a less calorific value. The heat contained in the coal is very less. Its transportation is very costly. So mining is very polluting. It is not environment friendly. Okay, and impurities are very high. You need lots of storage place for the coal. So that's why coal is not considered as a very efficient fuel nowadays. Okay. Another is oil and natural gas. Oil and natural gas are also very good minerals compared to coal. Specifically, oil has a greater calorific value than the coal. The transportation of oil is very easy. You can transport it through tubes, you can transport it through pipes, you can store it into the tanks, and its calorific value is very high, and there are multiple products which we can take from the oil. But coal is only, we can take only one product, and that is to produce the heat. Okay. So advantages of oil in this diagram, you can see it is easier to transport. Petrochemical industry, like you have Reliance Polymer, Reliance industry is very famous for that. So polymer is product byproduct of petroleum. Bitumen for making of a tar on the road is very famous for production, famous byproduct of the petroleum. Wax is also one of the famous byproduct of the petroleum. So plastic is also one of the byproduct of the petroleum. So they have, it is one of the base for the petrochemical industry. It is very easy to transport, but there are certain drawbacks of the petroleum. It is also not a climate friendly or environment friendly. Getting it? So because of the petroleum, okay, so oil spillage type of things happen in the ocean because of the petrol accidents which happen in the ocean of oil carrying big ships. So oil spillage is happening because of that. Huge amount of pollutants are released because of the burning of natural oil and natural this petroleum oil. So you know that Taj Mahal is being corroded because of this acid rain, which has formed because of the Mathura oil refinery. So acid rain is one of the phenomena of the burning of the oil. So these are the very important things, and exploration, and we can say um, exploration and uh, taking away this or taking out these petroleum resources from the depth of the earth is very very difficult. You need to go inside the ocean, you have to drill it, you have to store it, you have to transport it. So different problems are there. Okay. So instead of oil, now we are shifting slowly to natural gas. So natural gas have certain advantage over oil. What are the advantages of natural gas over oil? First of all, it is very easy to transport. It is cleaner than the oil. Then it is cheaper than the oil, and it has a very high calorific value. So natural gas has a very high calorific value. So that's why natural gas are more natural gas is better than the oil. Getting it? So these are the non-conventional resource. These are the conventional resources. So oil, natural gas, firewood, and coal. Firewood, as we know, that firewood has advantages and disadvantages. Like firewood, you can access it easily. Okay, it is you can store it easily. But disadvantage is that it pollutes the environment. It reduces the coverage, forest coverage. Okay, forest cover is reduced. Okay, then you need to go and collect it. You need to chop it. Then you need a storage space. So there are different problems which are associated with the fire. Coal, we have discussed the problem. One of the conventional source of power is a hydel power. Hydel power means power produced by using the speed of the water or force of the water. So when you use the water, which because of the force of the water, you are spinning the turbines. When turbines are spun, then what is produced is a power. So in this way, hydel power is utilized. The huge force of water is in the kinetic energy, which is there in the water, is converted into the mechanical energy and into the electric energy. So that's why hydel power is very important. It is cheap, it is non-polluting. Okay, big hydropower projects are polluting. Because of that, methane is produced. Because of that, forest cover is reduced. Lots of habitat is lost because of the big power projects. But small hydel projects are better. They are less polluting, less damaging. Getting it? So these are the some advantages and disadvantage of the hydel power. Getting it? So these things we have seen. So coal is used to produce the thermal power. Okay. So coal has been formed because of the few million years back. Some giant ferns and giant trees have been buried under the swamp. Okay. So that's why this coal is also called as a buried sunshine. Okay, because it is giving you a heat like a sun. So China, Germany, USA, Russia, South Africa, and France, they are the highest, they have highest deposits of coal. But in terms of production, India is among the top 5 countries or top 10 countries when it comes to the production. Getting it. In India, we have Gondwana time coal deposits which are found in Raniganj, Jharia, Dhanbad, Bokaro in the Jharkhand region of the India, Jharkhand and Bihar region of the India. Petroleum resource, if you see, petroleum is also called as a black gold. Okay, so it is also called as a black gold because it is black in color and it's sold at very high prices. So it is called as a black gold. So it is found in the wells under the ocean. Coal is found when the living organisms are buried under the land, and petroleum is formed when living organisms are buried under the ocean. So these two different places, land you will find coal, and under the oceans you will find the oil and natural gas. So it is called as a black gold. It is made up of Latin word petra means rock and oleum means oil. So rock oil is what also it is known as. Okay. So in India, if you see Digboi in Assam is the first well of oil that it was found. Then Bombay High is the offshore well that we have, and Krishna Godavari basin also we have huge deposits of petroleum. In the Gulf region, you have Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. In this region, huge amount of crude oil is found. Getting it. So we are very we have heard about this crude oil, the countries, okay, the war because of the crude oil. There is a one very beautiful movie on this international crude oil politics called Syriana. So if you can see this, okay, this Syriana. Syriana, it is a very nice movie on the world politics and how oil is spinning the politics all across the world. Okay. Natural gas is found in the wells of the petroleum only. When you take out the petroleum, along with that, natural gas is also found. So both are found in the different layers. First you will find natural gas. First you will find natural gas. Then you will find the petroleum. So United States, UK, Russia, Norway, Netherlands, they have huge amount of natural gas. In India also, we have Jaisalmer, Krishna Godavari Basin, Bombay High, and Northeast also in Tripura, we have huge deposits of natural gas. So natural gas, there is one more type of gas called as the CNG, compressed natural gas. So natural gas, when it is compressed and it can be used in a vehicle as a fuel, it is also much cleaner source of fuel compared to petroleum. Getting it. So that's why nowadays this Delhi and so many cities, they are running their vehicles on the natural gas. Next important source of power is a hydel power. As I have told you, big dams are used for the production of hydropower. Big dams are also used for the providing water to the agriculture. So hydel power is a very important source. Huge amount of electricity in the world is produced by the hydropower. China has one of the major hydropower projects in their countries, specifically Three Gorges Dam. Currently, right now, it is flooding in the China. This Three Gorges Dam is on very high risk. It is saying that it can be broken because of the flood. Okay. Norway was the first country in the world to develop the hydroelectricity. It's very important for the films. So Norway is one of the very first country which have developed this hydropower. Okay. So the site of the world's first solar and wind power was developed in the Scotland. Okay, above United Kingdom there is a Scotland. So there first wind and uh, solar power was developed. So in India, hydel power projects have been uh, in use since long time, since time of our independence. So first and very big dam which was created was a Bhakra Nangal Dam. Then in the Rajasthan you have Gandhi Sagar, South India you have Nagarjuna Sagar, Damodar Valley projects in the Jharkhand, okay, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal. So these are the different sites of the hydroelectric projects. But nowadays we are going from big hydroelectric dams to the small hydroelectric dams. Getting it? So I hope guys you have understood these things. So very important from mains point of view and as well as pre point of view as well. Now this we have seen the conventional sources of energy. Now let us understand non-conventional sources of energy. Non-conventional means recently we have found or recently we have developed for the purpose of producing the electricity. So we have solar energy, we have wind energy, we have nuclear energy, we have tidal energy. So these are the non-conventional sources of energy. This question can be asked in a prelim as well. Which of the following are the conventional and non-conventional sources of energy? Type of question can be asked. First, let us understand the solar energy. Solar energy, sun is a powerhouse for the earth. So using the sunlight, we gather this sunlight by using the diodes and this sunshine sensitive metals. Okay, so like silicon, silver, sometimes gold. So sun's heat is used to produce the solar energy. So solar cells are produced. So solar cells are used for the production of electricity. So solar cells are undergoing lots of modification. Initially, instead of using coal, by using the sun's heat, the steam used to be produced and steam used to use for running the turbines. Now, instead of using the water and steam, directly using the sunlight, we can excite the electrons from the atoms, and these electrons are captured as a electricity. Now, no need for the intermediary like water. Getting it? So this diagram shows you the non-conventional sources of energy and their different advantages and disadvantages. So you have wind energy, solar energy, tidal, nuclear, biogas, and geothermal energy. So you have different advantages and disadvantages. So all advantages of all the non-conventional energies, they are less polluting or they are non-polluting compared to except nuclear energy, which creates pollution in terms of heavy 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 metal remain, or we can say nuclear nuclear waste or radioactive garbage is produced from the nuclear sites. They are very dangerous. Except that all are non-polluting sources of energies. So tidal energy, solar energy, wind energy. But disadvantage of this energy is that they cannot be produced continuously. Getting it? Continuous production is not there. So for example, wind stops, then you cannot produce the wind energy. If wind changes the direction, you cannot produce the energy. If the strength of the wind reduces, then you will not get the energy. Solar energy during the rainy season, you won't have the sun. So solar energy won't be there. Nighttime solar energy will not be there. Again, tidal energy, yes, tides are continuously coming and going. So tidal energies are there, but they are very difficult to harness because in the ocean, sometimes you have high tides, sometimes you have low tides, sometimes they will destroy the equipment. So many problems are there in harnessing the tidal energy. Okay. So these are the different types of energies. So you just go through this different advantages and disadvantages. Geothermal energy also, India has some places in Leh Ladakh and in Himachal Pradesh where geothermal energy is being produced. So friends, this chapter is very simple and easy to remember. You just have to understand the facts given in the chapter. So India, the Tamil Nadu and Gujarat are one of the uh, topmost states for the wind energy production. So Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Maharashtra, even Andhra, these four states produce huge amount of wind electricity. Getting it? Nuclear power. So as we guys know, we have India's nuclear program, which is going up to the fast breeder nuclear program, fast breeder nuclear reactor, as well as thorium-based nuclear reactor. So currently we are producing nuclear fission-based electricity. So in this, the nuclei of the atom is divided, and because of that the energy which is produced is used for producing the steam, and the steam is utilized for the production of the nuclear electricity. Getting it? So fission based, and now we are also uh, experimenting on the fusion based nuclear reactors. So we have different nuclear reactors, like we have Kamini in Kalpakam, or Kamini in the Tamil Nadu, Tarapur in the Maharashtra, Rana Pratap Sagar, and Narora in the Uttar Pradesh. The different reactors are there in India. So here you can see in this diagram, this is a nuclear reactor. So from here, energy is being produced. Here you are giving water supply, and this tube is collecting the steam, and steam is going and running the turbine, and finally nuclear energy is coming out. So sorry, electric energy is coming out. So in this way, the how nuclear power is used for the production of electricity. Geothermal energy is nothing but energy inside the earth. Energy because of the activity of the lava, because of the activity of the, we can say, very hot spots. These hot spots are used for the collection of the heat, and this heat is used to run the turbines. So either you are using the heat produced by these hotspots, or you are using the steam produced in these regions where the water springs are active in these hotspot regions. Getting it? So we have such regions in India, hot spring regions. So USA has one of the world's largest geothermal power production center. And in case of India, we have Manikaran in Himachal Pradesh and Puga Valley in the Ladakh. They are one of the important regions of the geothermal energy production. In Western Ghats in near Kudremukh in the Karnataka are also some of the places, but they haven't exploded. In the Western Ghat also we have such places. Himalayas we have too many such places where we can explore this geothermal energy, but we are not exploring geothermal type of energy. Now this plant you can see tidal energy. How tidal energy is produced? So here you have turbines in each and every hole. So as what tide goes, they rotate these turbines and then electricity is produced. So in this way, tidal energies can be produced, but there are certain difficulties in producing the tidal energy. Okay, so we have Kutch. So in the Kutch region of Gujarat, Gulf of Kutch, we are producing the tidal energies. Okay, Bay of Fundy in Canada is very famous for this production of tidal energy. Next is a biogas. Biogas is nothing but an organic fermentation of a organic fermentation of the organic products. So, for example, animal waste, kitchen waste, and restaurant waste, hotel waste. So, these are all utilized for the production of biogas. In the biogas tank, this microorganism will ferment this organic material, and it will be converted into the gas called as a methane. Okay, so methane is produced. So methane is produced because of the biogas. Methane or called as a biogas. Carbon dioxide and methane. So the waste product which comes out of this biogas tank can be used as a manure for the farming, and it's very high quality manure. Okay, so in this way, these biogas are one of the very important source of energy production in the rural areas, and rural areas are producing huge amount of biogas in India, and it has been appreciated by the world community. So biogas even can be produced in the cities, but still that option has not been evaluated because huge amount of organic wastage we can gather in the cities. But for that we'll need very disciplined people. They should be able to segregate between wet and dry waste. So this types of awareness is not there in India. That's why it is little difficult. So I hope you guys have understood this chapter. Very simple chapter, and just read it and remember the certain facts in the chapter which can be asked in the exam. Let us see some MCQs under this chapter. First one is, which one of the following is not the characteristic of minerals? First, they are created by the natural process. Yes. They have definite chemical composition. Yes. They are inexhaustible. No, they are exhaustible. If you are not using them properly, they are exhaustible. Their distribution is uneven. Correct. Which one of the following is a leading producer of copper in the world? So we have seen Chile and Peru. So here Chile is there. So it is one of the highest producer of copper in the world. Which one of the following practice will not conserve the LPG in your kitchen? Soaking the dal for some time before the cooking it, it will conserve definitely because it will require less heat. Cooking food in pressure cooker, it will also conserve because food will cook very fast. Keeping the vegetables chopped before lighting the gas for cooking, definitely it will also conserve. Cooking the food in an open pan, keeping on low flame, no, it will not conserve the LPG in our homes. So very simple chapter. I hope guys you have understood this chapter. So please revise this chapter, take down the notes and see you tomorrow to see the next chapter. Thank you.